Hey there, it's been a while. Today for Halloween, we're doing something very special. I'm going to show you a full playthrough, starting from the file select screen up to getting your ocarina and finishing the first cycle. It's also the first time that I'm talking over a video without any script. I recorded these 28 minutes of me playing. Actually, it's some videos cut together because there were 1 or 2 bugs. No more than that. And I'm just trying to entertain you for 28 minutes. That's how long it takes. The intro cutscenes are extremely long. It takes you about 10 minutes until you get to actually play. That's how it is in Majora's Mask. That's how it is in TerminaCraft. As you can see, we start with this long text passage. Anyone who has played Majora's Mask knows this already, but I tried to be as faithful as I could. And then we start in the Lost Woods, and you can see there's still no fog. I posted a video of this without fog, and everyone was wishing for me to add fog. I did add it, but it caused some visual bugs, so I'm going to add it at some point, but not today. What is new though is the Link model. SillyBones made a player model and gave it a bunch of animations, and I think it looks much better than the wonky NPC we had before. With that NPC, we were quite limited in what we could do. I could only let the NPC sleep or sit, but now that SillyBones did this, I can do things like these. Link is actually looking left and right, so is the camera. And I know it looks quite wonky without the fog, but I'm very bad with shaders. This is also something that's new thanks to SillyBones. And he also redid all the animations for Skull Kid because he didn't like the ones I made. The original model was made by Cullen, by the way. So there we go. Link got spooked by the fairies and then he dropped. And now Skull Kid goes to see what he can do with Link. This is the only animation that I made. You can tell that it's a lot wonkier than the ones that SillyBones made. And the cutscenes are the parts that have the most bugs, actually, because it's really difficult to code in the features, animations. But I did my best. This was so difficult to pull off and it still looks extremely wonky. I apologize for that, but that's the best I could do for now. I may go and fix all the cutscenes once again once this is done, but there you go. Now you get to play for the first time for a very brief period. You're in the Lost Woods, you have your sword, your shield, you can cut grass, you get rupees when you cut grass. If you don't want to use your sword, you can still grab the bushes, throw them around, you still get drops. In this case, I was very lucky. I'm about to get 15 rupees just from this patch of grass. Yeah, there we go, 18 in total. And then you go on, and here actually is the first time you meet a Keaton patch. Those are the bush patches that run away when you hit them, like this. I don't know if it actually works if you use the Keaton mask here since you don't have it in game. Maybe if you cheated the mask in, it will work. I, for one, did not code it in for now. You jump over the logs, and then now this too is an animation added by SillyBones. It looks really cool. Remember in the very first video when I said I considered this initial part mostly done and playable, and I did so much on this, from the animations with the custom models to the particle effects up to the whole cutscene. It just is a whole lot different. That's why TerminaCraft is taking so long. I mean, it's been 5 years since my first video. It's insane. So here Skull Kid tells us that he got rid of Apona. Yeah, real sad. Luckily, anyone who has played Majora's Mask knows that Apona is still here. I added this grudge effect. Works quite similar to what it does in the N64. It's just a cone that rotates around the camera. And then for this part here, I added blindness effect with a few light blocks that come and go. And now we're cursed. We're actually turned into a Deku, as we can see here. This model here of Deku Link was also made by Cullen. Actually, all the models here, the fairies, Skull Kid, all of them were made by Cullen. The animations, some of them are by Cullen, others are by SillyBones. I'm really thankful for having people that make animations for me, because it's just such a pain. And then I try to make the cutscenes with the animated models. So if anything looks wonky, that's on me. But I think in the end it's Minecraft. It's kind of supposed to be a bit wonky. Just like here, Tattle bonking the door. And now's the first time we can play as a Deku. As a Deku, we can do the spinny thing when we walk fast. Here too, that's also a Keaton patch that runs away when we hit it. And as Tattle asked us to open the door, we are going to abide and open the door for her. And as we go on, Tattle joins us and decides to apologize. Still unsure whether we can forgive her, but that's okay because she's quite helpful. Okay, so we can use these flowers to dive down. And after a while we can jump and shoot out. Another door, but this one's a bit different. It has iron bars, so we cannot no longer go back. And here we can test our Deku flying skills with those platforms. And then there's the next new thing, our first chest, containing 10 Deku nuts, which we can use while flying. They don't explode if they don't hit anything. They also don't explode if they hit a pressure plate. That's a bug. That's an oversight on my end. Doesn't matter, Tattle tells us to. Z-target. We can Z-target in TerminaCraft. Quite useful. But she wants us to come closer and check it out. So we do that. Here's what the Deku Nut drop looks like if you actually hit a normal block. And she says we look alike because the tree is dark and gloomy. How nice. This here is one of my favorite parts so far. The Twisted Corridor, it went over so many iterations and I'm just so happy with how it looks now. It's still got a bit of a Minecrafty feely, but I never really thought that this would be possible in Minecraft, so I'm really happy with that result. And now we're in Clock Tower with moving pieces. Once I discovered those moving structures, I went crazy. I added them a lot, and I just think they add a lot of atmosphere. They're all block displays. Now who's this? It's the Happy Mask Salesman. That was the first animated NPC I added to TerminaCraft. I never noticed that Cullen had added quite a lot of animations to the models, so those were the first ones I added, and then later on I started adding my own animations, which SillyBones didn't like, so he made new ones. And we have the sliding doors, and we just got a sneak peek there of an old version of Clocktown. And there you could see a very small bug while loading, but that's okay. Still work in progress, still unpolished, but it's fine. I'm quite happy with how it looks like right now. Okay, where do we go from here? So, in Clocktown, I did everything you need to get the ocarina and finish the cycle. There are some NPCs that work already, some that don't. The dog can attack you. He doesn't do it always, so that's an issue and you still need to fix. But the essential NPCs are here, like Tingle and Jim, the balloon. You can go up to Tingle, and he will tell us about how he's 35, and his father is disappointed in him. I kind of relate. But he still sells us a map. And now you can see that we got a mini-map. And let's talk to Jim. He says we shouldn't talk to him unless we can pop the balloon, okay. And Tattle wanted us to check out the Great Fairy in North Clocktown, so we'll do just that. I redid the fairies, thanks with Jim DuBois' help. He got the actual animation of the stray fairy, so I could implement that in TerminaCraft. Looks really cool. And yeah, the Great Fairy just told us that she's broken and we need one stray fairy. So we're going to look for that stray fairy. And you can also see that, since we bought the map, that we actually can see that part of Clocktown. That's the map we bought from Tingle, and the rest is still covered in clouds. So let's go look for that stray fairy. Maybe those jugglers know something. No, they don't know anything. Well, that's okay. We keep on searching. Maybe she's over here. Yeah, that seems to look like a fish. Yeah, I had to add the fish to TerminaCraft. I'm not even sure where you can use fish in Majora's Mask. But I really wanted those fish in there. I don't know, I always liked them in the original. So we got the stray fairy. We're going back to the Great Fairy now. I always disliked how the business crop stops you in your tracks. And he does the same thing in TerminaCraft, obviously. You always have to wait for that little cutscene to finish playing. I think it's a bit faster in TerminaCraft, so that's a plus. Now we go to the Great Fairy to restore her and see how she can help us beat Skull Kid. There she is in all her glory. That's one of the first models that Cullen made, and I think it looks really cool. It took me quite a while to get it into TerminaCraft because I was just not used to using custom models, but now I'm adding them wherever I can, whenever there's an NPC that does more than just talk. Okay, so we get magic powers, so now we can do a lot of more stuff. We can shoot bubbles, as the dialogue said. So let's go and try that out. Before there was at least one balloon. Oh, there's two now. I didn't even know that, but Tingle, when you don't have magic powers, he never uses his balloon. So at first he was on the ground, but now we can shoot his balloon. And we could get a second map if we had enough rupees. Here's also the moon, made by KirbyCarden. Okay, maybe now Jim will talk to us. What you can hear in the background is Tingle blowing up his balloon and ascending again. And now Jim assembles his crew. And we have to go look for them. One difference here in the bomber hide and seek is that in Majora's Mask they would stay in their area, but here the bombers can actually walk out of their respective areas, so the ones in North Clocktown could go to South Clocktown, but at least they cannot get stuck behind the guards. They can do that in Majora's Mask, which I always found annoying. So we got 2 of them, 3 left. Let's go to East Clocktown. These 2 were quite easy, but you can see later on that I had a bit of trouble getting the other 2. Also, a difference here is that you have to hit them and not just get near them. I think it gives a bit of a satisfying feeling when you get to punch those kids. Do not punch kids. There's other stuff here. We can see the treasure chest shop, for instance. I mean, I have the minigame. It's working somewhat, but I still need to go over it. A lot of things are half done, but these things here I consider done. And I made a lot of progress in this last half year. 4th one in the bag, and there's only 1 missing in West Clocktown. In West Clocktown, we have the shops. The sword training hall is mainly done. Trading post is somewhat done. Bank I have to fully redo. I had a working bank when I was still working with DATAPACKS. Now we got the last kid. He doesn't give up easily. Now you see he's run out all the way from West Clocktown to South Clocktown. And I still couldn't manage to get him, but I think it adds a bit of fun to it. There we go. We got all of them. And I think the most difficult part here was, while making the video, was remembering the code. Because whenever you restart a game of TerminaCraft, you get a new code. But then it stays obviously the same when you reset the time. There we go. 2, 1. 2, 1, 5, 3, 4. I had to remember that because that's how we got into the hideout. And where is the hideout? Well, if you go exploring Clocktown, you know that you'll find out that it's in the east. Anyone who's played Majora's Mask knows that. So we go to this kid. And we can put in the code. We can actually use our WASD keys to put in the code. When I was trying to figure out how to do the bomber code, I incidentally found out how to use the ocarina in the same way. And later on, obviously, we'll see how ocarina playing goes. So now we're in the bomber's hideout. Can hop over the water because we're a Deku. And then we can straight walk to the... Oof. That's a Skulltula. Right now we cannot hit the Skulltula. We can hit her with a sword, but not with the deck was spinning, so I just went around it. That's okay. And from the hideout we get into the Observatory. Always love the music. There's a scarecrow, there's a rotating clock, which I still absolutely in love with. Then we go up here. And we get to meet an old friend. You can look through the telescope, you can see the moon, you can see the clock tower, and there is Skull Kid dancing on top. And we just got a MimineStudio. Oh, we got mooned. Another small bug. This happens when you get too far away from an NPC. They lose their text, their skin. They lose their default. They go back to the default skin. Now we're in Termina Field. We can see that I've built it already, but you just can't get there. We got the MimineStudio, you can check it out in our inventory. And we got our 5 Deku Nuts. If you use them on the floor, it looks like this. Then we go all the way back. We did everything we had to do, needed to do, and we still have 2.5 days left. So what do? We go dance with a scarecrow. And he's quite the dancer. And the camera goes crazy, a lot of angles. Luckily it's a good tune, I love Saria's song, so that's good. However, once you've done this once, you still need to do it a couple more times, so I sped this part up. It took long in the original, takes long in TerminaCraft. And once you're done in the final night, the Scarecrow decides he's had enough and then he just goes away. So now we still have 6 hours to wait until we can get on top of the clock tower. We have to wait. There's not much more to show in the last night since everyone has left town. Look at the moon. Look at the size of the moon. Look at the light ray. We can now see who's still here in Clocktown. There's Muto. He's really angry that everyone has left, and if you talk to him a second time, he has a different dialogue. And now what do? We can go to the business club. Give him our moons tier. And I decided I wanted to right-click the NPC with the item in hand. I didn't like the whole start pressing thing during the dialogue in the original, so I changed that. And then we get another cutscene of him leaving. Fun detail, this time he has a third bag. Originally he only has 2 when he lands, so we had to give him a third bag. And then he's off. And I think that's everything. We now have to wait until the clock strikes midnight. But actually, we can go and check out this chest. I sped up some of the parts where we're waiting for the clock to strike midnight, and then I remembered some other things that I still wanted to show off, like the guards blocking the door or getting those rupees. But other than that, we're mainly done. We're still waiting. I sped this up. Until I remember, there's still one thing we can do. We can get that piece of heart that's up there with the Deku flower. And if you check your inventory, you can see we got 1 piece of heart. And you can also notice a small oversight. We didn't get full healed. I don't know why that was. I think it's because Zelda uses quarter hearts and Minecraft uses half hearts. It's a weird mapping I had to do. More waiting up until midnight. And this is also one of my favorite parts. I've been thinking so long of how to pull this off with just blocks, not entities. And now I'm using block displays, so I found a way to actually make this rotation happen, and I think it looks really, really awesome. Same with the sliding doors that slowly go down. And that's it. We can finally go and meet Skull Kid. Last cutscene. It's gonna take another while. But before we do that, there's one more thing we can do. I said before that there's not many NPCs left in Clocktown. Well, there's someone I didn't even know existed in the first cycle. But we can still go and visit them. So let's enter Stockpot Inn. Who do you think is still there? If I manage to get the door open. Is it Grandma? No. It's the toilet hand. And he wants paper. Luckily, we just got the land title deed, so we can give him paper. And he gives us a second piece of art, which is really cool. So now after we've given that weird hand their paper, we can finally go and save the world. Or at least try to, and then run away like a coward. He's just hovering there, menacingly. I initially had a bug where I set the speed way too high and Tail just got flung into outer space while getting slapped. And there we go, the moon's crashing down again. We don't know what to do, we need more time. But luckily, we have the power of spitting. There we go, we got our ocarina back finally. Now what you can see here, this is actually in color, but I applied a grayscale filter. Minecraft has this feature that when you spectate a creeper, you get a green overlay, green hue over the whole thing. And I changed it with a shader so that it would display everything in grayscale. So actually this whole scene is done in color. You're just spectating a creeper, that's why everything looks gray. Now Zelda teaches us the song. In this run I played it correctly, but if you would play a note incorrectly, it would show the red cross and let you replay the thing. So there we go, we have the Song of Time, we have everything we need. And Princess Zelda even tells us that whenever we need the help of the Goddess of Time, we just have to play the song. Okay, so we got the ocarina. Well, looks more like pipes, but good enough. So we play the Song of Time. We're done with the first cycle. And there's a very last bug where the music is still playing during the Song of Time scene. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for waiting. This was TerminaCraft.